First, I'd like to make a Mangalacharana. Mangalacharana means an introduction to my talk, to invoke auspiciousness, to show respect to the disciplic succession of acharyas who have passed down the knowledge of Krishna consciousness over generations and millennia. And if you know the words, you can please join with me. Otherwise, please just listen, and the sound vibration is in itself purifying. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who made it his mission to expand the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. He had been given a mission from his spiritual preceptor, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whom he met in Calcutta, my spiritual master's hometown, and the place where his future spiritual master had set up what is known historically as the Gaudiya Math, which was systemizing the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared in West Bengal over 500 years ago to exemplify and give the precepts of the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in a practical way that people anywhere in the world could take them up. And he had quite a lofty mission statement, given that there was no international travel. Well, of course, there were boats, ships. But he said, Pritiviti achiyatan nagarari gram sarvatra prachahoy murnam. That this teaching that he started in a small place called Navadvip in India would expand to every town and village of the world. That seemed quite impossible at the time. And even in 1965, which is the year that my spiritual master at the age of 69 years had departed from Calcutta, actually on the Ganga, because the most used dock there for commerce in Calcutta, where ships come and go, starts on the Ganga, the Ganges River. And then it goes out into the ocean. He had begged passage on an ocean liner that was a cargo ship. It wasn't meant for luxury. But he had a mission. He had no resources, except that he brought with him the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, which, as all of you know better than I, is the postgraduate study of the Bhagavad Gita that leads to the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam that describes the advent of Lord Krishna in this world, which is what we're celebrating today, Janmashtami, or the appearance of Krishna, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears in the world periodically in order to give a glimpse of what the spiritual world looks like, Because when Krishna comes, he brings with him his associates, and he sets a stage. As many of you who know the Mahabharata know the heroine, Kunti Devi, she had, in a set of prayers to Krishna himself, said, Maya javanikachanam agnad hoksa jamabhyayam nalakshashe mudha drisha nato natya doroyata. She says, my dear Krishna, you're just like an actor on a stage. You come and you perform your lila or pastimes, and we can't tell really who you are because you disguise yourself. And as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyamam abhijananti yavanyaschasmi tattvataḥ tatoman tattvato gyatva vishite taranantaram. Only those who have devotion, some love in their heart for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is to be had through association with those who already have it, just like in the old days before centralized heating and cooling. People used to have a little stove in their homes. Not much here in California, though. Our weather's so good. But when one's flame would go out, it was an arduous process to restart it. So oftentimes people would go to a neighbor and they bring this little box with them where they could beg a small ember from the neighbor's fire, and they'd transport it home in the box, and then they could relight their stove and then have heat again. So in a similar way, bhakti, or this devotion, it spreads most readily from the hearts of those who already know Krishna or have love for Krishna in their hearts. And when we meet them, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanas tumam partha divyam prakritim ashrita bhajantyananya manaso gyatva bhutitim avyam. Those are the ones who are thinking of Krishna, chanting Krishna's names and so forth. Then we can take that ember and it lights our heart and awakens that natural sense of devotion that every living being has for God. This is the universal principle of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Vidya vinaya sampane brahmani gavihastani shuni chaiva shupakecha pandita samadarshina. A pandit, nowadays a word that is common in English parlance, especially denoting someone who's expert at something. Oftentimes we hear of political pundits and so forth. There's a Sanskrit word. Many words in English come from Sanskrit. And he gives his opinion, does Krishna, of what a learned person is. A pundit is one who shows respect to every living being in every species of life, because he or she sees that beyond this temporary body that we're now inhabiting, there's the eternal soul. And that soul has emanated from the Supreme Soul. We're all part of the same original source. And there is an original source. So, Srila Prabhupada brought those literatures with him to America. Of course, that story and the history is there in detail. It's a story of a hero's journey, leaving with no resources, and then as he traversed the world 14 times and started over 108 communities around the world on every continent except for the North Pole, which we covered recently. He came back to India, and at that time in history in India, people were looking towards America. That was in the 70s. He brought back with him many of us, Americans and Europeans, who had taken to the practice of celebrating Janmashtami, what to speak of chanting Hare Krishna, to introduce us to the Indian population. So Now, here we are, celebrating Janmashtami. As described in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first chapter, which is entitled The Advent of Lord Krishna, there's a description of how Krishna appears in this world. Of course, we have to have context, because if we don't have context, by studying the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam and understanding the Bhagavad Gita, then we might mistake that Krishna is an ordinary person. But as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evaṁ yo vetti tattvataḥ Tyaktvā dehaṁ punar Janma naiti mamiti rjuna. And that is Janma, his birth, his karma, his activities, are divyam. What does divyam mean? Who said divine? 20 points. You all know what it means, but you're just shy to raise your hands. Janma karma chame divyam evaṁ yo vetti tattvataḥ. What does tattva mean? It's often translated as truth, to understand the truth of something. Tat is a demonstrative pronoun. It's the exact same word in English as that. You just add an H. In Sanskrit, it's tat, like Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada. In English, you say that. I'm pointing to something specific. So tattvā means something categorically that you can say exists categorically. So he says, Janma karma chame divyam evaṁ yo vetti tattvataḥ. Those who know this truth of the appearance of Bhagavan, Krishna, in the world, and that his birth is not an ordinary birth, and his activities are not ordinary. Most people's activities are impelled by the force of karma. We're forced to take birth. And what's the other end of that? If we're forced to take birth, then what comes after that? Sorry to bring it up. I know it's a family show. We also are forced to die, and we don't know when. But Krishna appears by his own sweet will. This is one of the main truths of Janmashtami to understand. Why is it important? Janma karma chame divyam evaṁ yo vetti tattvataḥ. Now here comes the most important part. Are you ready for the most important part of the verse? Yes. Why am I not convinced? Yes. All right. Tyaktvā dehaṁ punar Janma naiti mamiti rjuna. Krishna says, if you're able to understand this science of God, that God's not an ordinary person, he enters the world not like us by force, leaves the world not by force like us, but that his activities are divyam, transcendental. He says, Tyaktvā dehaṁ. Deham means this body. We all have a body, right? And Tyaktvā means at some point we have to give it up. Tyaktvā dehaṁ punar Janma naiti. That means when you leave this body, if you become fully cognizant of God and your relationship with God in this lifetime, you've come to the perfection of human life. And therefore you don't have to take birth again. Because this universe is a classroom. It's for all of us to refine ourselves. And what is the ultimate refinement? It's to reawaken our relationship with Bhagavan. Every single living entity has an eternal relationship with God. And when we're estranged from that relationship, then we feel fear, because we think that we're independent or separated, and that we struggle here in this world to understand our nature. And we have existential angst about our own existence, and we're threatened by non-existence. But when we understand that we're co-eternal with the Supreme, Krishna exists eternally, and just like the sun has its sun rays, we're part and parcel of Krishna. He says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamaivam sho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Manakshasthanindriyani prakriti stani karshati. That every living being is a spark of God, of God's energy. God is like the sun, and we're like the sun rays. Simultaneously one but different from the Supreme. He's supremely independent and all-powerful, and we're minutely independent and we're not all powerful. I'm glad somebody regularly reminds me of that. And so Krishna says, again, Janma karma chame divyam evaṁ yo vetti tattvataḥ Tyaktvā deham punar Janma naiti evaṁ rjuna. He's speaking to, for 20 more points? You don't count. You don't get any points over there. Okay. Who's Krishna speaking to in the Bhagavad Gita? 20 points for all my friends. He says, Dear Arjuna, if anyone can understand the truth of my appearance in the world, that it's not ordinary, it's divyam, and my activities, then they don't have to take birth again here in this material world. So Janmashtami is a celebration of this event. But it's not a yearly event. It's an event that is happening at every moment, if that even makes logical sense. The fact is that Krishna is within the heart of all of us. And he's guiding our movements, giving us intelligence. In the Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham vriddhi sannivishto mattak smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarver ahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Krishna says, I'm in the heart of every living being, giving knowledge, remembrance, and even forgetfulness. And so, on Janmashtami, we can remember that Krishna is in our heart. He's in the heart of every living being. And what's more, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena konteya jagadvi parivartate. How is the universe moving? Why can you set your watch by the sun? Why is everything moving in an ordered way? His principle is there in the Bible, the logos. Logos is the suffix for various sciences. What science ends in ology? Just give me two. And don't tell me astrology. Go ahead. You can say astrology. Biology. Give me another ology. Geology, okay. I don't know why physics didn't get one, but they deserve a little something. So these ologies come from the word logos. Logos means, and it's the theory that the universe is ordered. In other words, there's order behind the universe, otherwise you couldn't have a controlled study. You couldn't look at anything reasonably and understand it. It would just be random. But it's not. Everything has order to it. Order means intelligence. And that sheets back to the fact that everything emanates from a source that's called in Sanskrit abhijna, fully cognizant, fully intelligent, and surat, fully independent. So this world is not only pervaded by Krishna personally, but his energies control everything perfectly. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there are many ways that one can remember me. Can anybody think of any of the natural phenomena in the world that Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, in which he says, you can see me, God, within this phenomena, natural phenomena. Let's name three. You all know Bhagavad Gita better than me, so you should be scoring points here. Your mother read Bhagavad Gita every day, and your grandmother memorized Bhagavad Gita. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did your grandmother memorize Bhagavad Gita? See? Tell me a phenomena in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna says represents him here in the world. I can't hear you. Tell me the verse. You're a pundit, so you have to give the verse. Of purifiers I am the wind. Krishna says it in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Very good. Give him a hand. But no points for you because you're a pundit. Okay, two more. What other two phenomena Krishna says in this material world where one can see him? Fire, he says, yes. Work with me, Taste in water. Anybody here drink water? Or just soda pop? Don't do that. Taste in water, Krishna says. Rasoham apsakonteya prabhasmi shashishuryo pranavak sarvavedishu shabdake purushamnishu. How about punyo gandha prativyam cha? He's the scent of the earth. Anybody here smell a flower recently? Let me see if there's any scent here. It comes from the earth. So Krishna says, I'm that scent. What else? Of opulent entities within this world, what does Krishna say in the 10th chapter that he is? Of all aquatics, what does he say he is? Hey. No pundits. Shark. How about of immovable objects? Himalaya. How about of mountains? What mountain does Krishna say he is? Correct. Who said Meru? Okay, another pundit. You don't count. Okay. All these ways Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita that you can see him everywhere. Even if you can't see Bhagavan personally with your eyes, you can understand, Krishna says in the Gita, that I'm everywhere, within everything. And in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, called Attaining the Supreme, Krishna gives these various ways that are very sweet. He says, Kavim Puranam Manushashitanam Anuraniyam Shamanusmaridyaha Sarvasya Chaham. Sorry, I led you astray. He starts by saying, Kavim Puranam. He says, I know everything. Anybody here knows everything? Just go ahead and raise your hand. Be a little bold. Because we'll quiz you afterwards. Even AI messes up. But Krishna actually does know everything, and Purana means he's the oldest, and so forth. He's the maintainer of everything. So Janmashtami is a remembrance of how are we even moving? How do we even breathe? How do we even see? It's all coming from the power of the Supreme, who's there within our hearts, and he also appears personally in this world to perform his pastimes. And that we find in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that he appears within the family of Vasudeva and Devaki. He's transferred to Vrindavan in the home of Nanda and Yashoda. And he begins his amazing pastimes that take place over 100 years, including the Kurukshetra war and so forth. And so now, to conclude, I'm going to attempt a new technology brought to us by our tech team in a better work. So, we have a song I think you'll like. Anybody's Hindi bol sakte hai? No Hindi. Only Maharashtrian. You speak Hindi. He speaks Hindi. Who's that? Okay. We're going to sing a song in Hindi. Okay? Okay, but I'm going to need a little help. Any of you sitting back there, you got to move closer. This is a close song. It's a song that brings community together. We have a QR code. Is it going to work?
We don't have one right now, but you go to versecircle.com.
Okay. Does anybody here have a smartphone?
Yes.
Is that a high percentage question? Get a good answer. If not, see me afterwards. I know a guy to get you one. Move up. This will be fun. I guarantee it. Otherwise, your money back from this event. Move up. Family. It's family. We're going to chant a bhajan. You're really going to like it. You know it? You know it? Okay, now I need to see it. Go to versecircle.com. Go on your phone, go to versecircle.com. Verse, VERSECIRCLE. I wouldn't make it in a spelling bee, you can tell. Spell circle. I don't know. Okay. You guys ready? Yes. Did you go to Verse Circle? on your phone or share with one of your friends next to you. Or if you don't have a friend next to you, make a friend. If you're feuding, then you can make up right now so you can share. You got it? Okay, somebody hold it for me so I can see. This is a song about Krishna's Leela, his pastime. You want to sing a Leela song? Yes. Okay, only 3 people said yes. Everybody else cover your ears really hard like this. Do you want to hear about Krishna's Leela in a song? In Hindi? All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Krishna consciousness is good, clean fun. And nothing but fun, as I said at Woodstock, but it didn't turn out that way. So please keep the transcendental vibration going here in Mountain House, because this place rocks. And you got the best leaders here of the city. They come to Janmashtami. You don't find this quality of people anywhere. You're in a good circumstance. Let's try to do good for Mountain House by expressing goodwill, being goodwill ambassadors, trying to serve others here selflessly, give people an opportunity to have some transcendental vibration, and we'll meet again and again throughout the Bay Area. All the different divisions that we have around the Bay Area, we can all come together. I think we could have maybe downtown San Francisco first, a kirtan like this, but we'll have 108 madungas. You're into it. So you all better learn how to play the madunga then. He'll teach you. Thank you very much to all the organizers. Hare Krishna.